Hi there, it's Nicole, and today I have a card share for you featuring the Simon Says stamp May 2014 card kit. This is an awesome card kit that has a definite more masculine feel with the colors and the designs and the stamp set included in this card kit. And I just love the little Converse shoe stamp included in the card kit, so I knew I wanted to use it here today. I even stamped the inside of my card with an additional greeting and some of the stars from the stamp set included in the card kit. So the first thing I did was I cut down the white cardstock in the kit, cut the 8.5 by 11 sheet in half lengthwise and folded it at the top, and then I've trimmed down some of the navy cardstock from the kit as well as this striped paper, and I'm going to be using the Simon Says stamp curved edge die to die cut both of these papers at once. I wanted the curve to be in the same place, and since I've already cut down my paper to 4 1/4 inches wide, I thought this would be the easiest way so that the curve is in the same place on both sheets of paper. I'm simply matting the striped design with the navy paper so that there's just a little peek of that stripe underneath the navy. Or I guess I'm matting the navy paper with the stripe. So there are both of my pieces of paper ready to put on the front of my card. And I'm going to take the navy cardstock first, and I'm rubbing it with a powder tool so that the embossing powder only sticks to where I stamp with the Versamark. And I inked up the Dude stamp from the stamp set, and I'm just going to stamp it right there. I'm going to take some white embossing powder, which I made a mess of as I was creating this, and I'm going to sprinkle that on where I just stamped that word. Then before I go and heat set that, I am going to take the little strip of dot stamps, and I'm going to only ink up 3 of these. Because the greeting for my card kind of goes from the front to the inside of the card, I wanted to use those little dots kind of as a dude dot dot dot, and then you're a winner on the inside of my card. So I stamped those and heat set the white embossing powder. Next, I'm going to take the new stencil included in the kit this month, or for May rather. And this is from Simon Says Stamp as well. It's an exclusive product that is also available individually. If you prefer not to purchase the entire kit, you can get many of the elements for the kit individually. This is the stars and dots, and I'm going to use a little washi tape to hold my stencil in place. And instead of using the peacock feathers distress ink that came in the kit, I'm going to use the mini inking tool from the kit with the chipped sapphire distress ink. I wanted a tone-on-tone background for this navy cardstock, so I'm just going to ink around anything that is not the word dude. And you can see I accidentally got some of the ink. I forgot to mask off that right side. So all I did was remove my mask, and I took a damp paper towel and gently wiped that ink off and then let it dry. And then I went ahead and completed using the mask or the stencil to apply my ink. So I'm just being careful not to apply ink over my greeting. It also would have helped if I had masked or taped down the cardstock before I taped down my mask that first time. So I did tape it down just so it doesn't shift or move while I'm applying the ink to the other side or the rest of the card design here. Either way, I was going to have to use it twice because this stencil is not big enough to cover the entire area. So I chose to do it vertically. You could also do it horizontally. It doesn't really matter either way. So I'm just applying the rest of that ink, and you can see that it gives a really great tone on tone. Now, I was careful not to touch anywhere that has the distress ink because it's wet. It will smear. And to speed that up a little bit quicker, I went ahead and zapped it with my heat gun so that I could get it dry and I wouldn't have to worry about smearing it with my fingers. Now, I did have to go back over that. I just lined it back up because I had that washi tape in the way along the bottom, and it cut off part of the stencil design. Now, up at the top, it doesn't make any difference because I am going to have to trim a little bit, so I didn't worry about going and applying or finishing applying the ink there. So I'm ready to start adhering some of the elements to my card. I'm going to just put that navy cardstock on there, get it lined up. I didn't quite have them cut the same size, I noticed, after I got these lined up. So I'll just have to trim a little bit, which isn't a big deal. I made sure I left both of these long enough that I had room to trim off a little bit. Gave me a little bit of room to play. So I'll add some adhesive and stick that to the top of my card. I want to leave enough room near the bottom, especially that bottom right corner, so that I can stamp the little tennis shoes stamp set from the May kit. So I'll just trim off that extra there. And you can see along the right side where my striped paper was a little bit longer than the navy cardstock. So I trimmed that up, and then I stamped the shoes there using the Simon Says Stamp black ink. And then I'm going to add a little additional detailing. I'm going to adhere a really thin strip of red cardstock from the kit along the bottom of the card. And I'm also going to apply that same strip along the top of the card, as well as a little strip of the stripe paper. I could have just trimmed off more of the navy paper and left the stripe showing, but I didn't do that, so I just put an additional stripe on top and then the little red cardstock strip, and I added a navy strip at the bottom to kind of finish off the whole design. Before I color in the shoes, I'm going to go ahead and stamp a greeting on the inside of my card, or the rest of the greeting on the inside of my card, and I'm using the You're a Winner stamp. I stamped that with some Simon Says Stamp black ink. Then I'm taking the soft navy ink, which is a new release for Simon Says Stamp today, April 15th. There's actually 7 new colors, and I'm also using some of the older Simon Says Stamp colors, the Schoolhouse Red, Green Leaf, and Sunshine. I love bringing the design from the front of the card to the inside as well. Now I'm ready to color in the shoes, and I'm using colored pencils, and I'm going to blend it out with Gamsol. And for whatever reason, when I was creating this card, I was having an off coloring day and really struggled staying inside the lines. I don't know what the deal was. And instead of trying to pull the other elements off and remaking this card, I decided to just stick with it, and I would fix any of those little mistakes at the end. I showed a stencil card with watercoloring distress ink technique here a couple weeks ago where I had a mistake that I fixed, and this is going to be a similar kind of design mishap, little fix-it, and I'll show you how I did that in a little bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and color the rest of the card. I did decide I didn't want to leave portions of the shoes a stark white. I felt like it blended into the background of the card too much, so I'm just adding a little bit of a soft beige-ish kind of color, tan, and blending it out. I didn't color it very heavy. I used a really light hand with it, and then simply blended out that color. I think that it helps differentiate the shoes from the background of the card. So I'm blending my colored pencil lines with Gamsol. Just blending all of those shades of reds together. There's not a whole lot of coloring. This is a pretty small image really, but I definitely wanted to make sure that it showcased the stamp as well as possible. Now this is a white gel pen from Sakura, an opaque pen, and I'm simply kind of dabbing or drawing over anywhere where my red pencil got out of the lines. And that was how I fixed anywhere that I had a little mishap. And I used the Wink of Stella black glitter marker to go over those black stripes on the shoe, and the Sakura clear Stardust marker to go over the rivets in the shoe. They really help define the little silver rivets. Then I decided to go over the entire shoelaces with the white opaque pen. It really helped the shoelaces stand out, I think, and made sure there wasn't any little colored pencil errors on the laces anywhere. Finally, I'm going to take that white pen and I'm going to draw some stitching lines on those thin cardstock strips. I did that on both the red strips along the top and the bottom, and then I did go across the navy curved edge as well. So, and I got a little bit of white there on my card that I needed to fix. So there is my finished card, created with the May 2014 Simon Says Stamp Card Kit. All of the supplies I used to create the card are listed below the video on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you the next time.